You've landed on planet 412. I'll be your captain of sorts as we navigate this strange, cryptid-filled world. Join me on the quest for truth, through the strange, mysterious, and supernatural. This is Planet 412. You've landed on Planet 412. I'm your host, Matt Emsch. I'm here to bring you through the world of paranormal, supernatural, cryptids, UFOs, and aliens, and everything in between. Today, what we're going to be talking about and with is the brother of a video that we did not long ago with Ernie Davieu and his incredible Bigfoot experience. We have his brother, Fran Davieau, on board to join us here in a minute. And this is what I spoke about in that first episode about we were going to do a second one with people that are going to be able to corroborate stories, things that have happened in the immediate area of where Ernie Davieu's incredible Bigfoot experience happened. And this is just one of the three people that we're going to speak with. We're also going to be showing GPS, overhead views, some videos, and we're going to be finally getting to hear some of Ernie's flute music at the beginning and end of these episodes. So without further ado, we're going to bring Fran Davieau into the studio.
My name's Fran, and I'm Ernie's brother, like Matt said. And we grew up in a little city called, little town, I should say, definitely town, called Montgomery, Massachusetts, right outside of Westfield, Massachusetts. The area was, Granville, Southwick. There was, a fairly large wooded area in there. And Ernie wanted me just to, say a couple experiences that I had in that area, because there seems to be a lot of people, and it's been a long time since I've been in that area, but there seems to be a lot of people that have been thinking about what they have encountered in that area. Now, I can say I never, seen Bigfoot, or, I can't tell you what color his eyes are or anything like that. I could just tell you what I experienced in that area since I'm going to start my story when I was 4 years old. And that has traumatized me. When the only memory you have when you're 4 years old is this. And I had no idea that, what Bigfoot was or anything. I was out in the backyard and I was swinging on the swing set. And I remember my sister, Kathy, and my brother, Ernie, they were in school. So I had to be young. And my little brother was in the house. The swing set was probably about, I would say, 40 yards from the house. And behind the swing set, my dad had built a lean-to. We called it Fort Rest-A-Bit. It was for my older sister who was in the Brownies, and they wanted to come up there and do campfires and, stuff like that. So I'm in the backyard, and I'm swinging on the swing set. And I had fallen off the swing. And when I did, I turned around because Fort Rest-A-Bit sat kind of, it was an A-frame, little A-frame. My dad made it out of plywood. And I couldn't tell you to this day how big it was or anything like that. Ernie told me it was made out of, 8-foot plywood, that, the A-frame type thing. So I can remember turning around, and I can't tell you, exactly. I can tell you there was something standing on 2 feet, and its head came to the top of Fort Rest-A-Bit, which was an A-frame, and its head came to the top of it, and both arms were out to the side holding the front like this. And I don't, that's all, that is it. I ran like you would not believe home, right to the house. My mom met me. I was yelling like you wouldn't believe. I didn't stop to see, what is it? Nothing. I didn't know what Bigfoot even was. My mom kept me in the house till my dad came home. My dad went up there and he said he didn't see anything. Well, that's a long, my dad, he kept a lot in the woods to himself also. So that's one trauma thing that I had when I was like 4 or 5 years old. Cause, and it's one of my memories that I will remember, but I can't say if it was a bear. I can't say what it was. I can say it was big. I can say Ernie said that the Fort Recibit was probably about 6 foot to the top of it, to the peak of it. So I'm figuring that this, now I'm thinking about it, I'm older, I'm thinking, oh, well, this thing had to have been, because I just looked at it for probably 2 or 3 seconds. And it had to have been about, and I wouldn't say, I'd say about 7 foot, 7, 8 foot. It wasn't that big. It could have been a bear. I don't know, but now I'm thinking about the sightings and everything going on up there.
Hey, Fran, I want to ask you one question. I apologize for interrupting you, but you had said that it put its arms up, right?
Yes. Like it was trying to look like,
well, see, a bear doesn't do that.
It was like this and its arms was up. So, and from Ernie told me, because I was so young, I can't remember. Ernie and my dad and my sister, they all built it out there. I was just so young. But Ernie said that it was probably about 6 foot, on the peak. But I can remember it had its arms around it and it was going like this. Mm-hmm. And that's all. I ran. I ran. That's the figure that I could see, and it was really dark. It looked, I remember the brown, and it looked like black. It was a dark colored animal and it was big. And I didn't know what it was till this day. Now I'm thinking about it and I'm saying, well, that was pretty, it did pretty well traumatize me on that.
Well, bears definitely can't open their arms up like that.
Yeah, so. It had its arms open like this. And for a bear to stand on 2 legs to start with is usually they're getting a sniff, because I've been in the woods before, and usually they're getting up to get a sniff, or they feel they're aggravated. That's the only time I've seen a bear get up on 2 feet. But this bear, I can remember, was up on 2 feet. Its arms were like this, and its head cocked out to the side, like it was almost trying to look into the Fort Recibit. We called it Fort Recibit. And so that was that experience. And then my other experience I had was the same area. We had an area up Cabo Mountain, and we had an area up there called Indian Rock. And we'd always go up there driving around, kids and everything. We'd be driving around, doing our thing up there. And, and it was like the closest house was, I'd say probably 30 to 50 miles from the area where Indian Rock is. So we go up there, we didn't bother anybody. We're all secluded and everything. And one day we were up there, and I had bought a 1964 Chevy Nova. First car I ever bought in my life. And I had an exhaust problem with it. And the muffler kept falling off it. So what happened was we're coming up the dirt road there. It's almost like a logging road. You can't get much up it. And my muffler comes off. So it breaks like this. So I got to stop. Otherwise, I'm going to push my exhaust all over the place. And I got a coat hanger, back in them days. That's what we used to tie our mufflers up and everything. And when you didn't have the money. But so I got underneath the car. I opened my door, and I had a guy in the back seat, a friend of mine. His name was Tommy Gee. And I had Ernie in the passenger seat. And it was, I crawled underneath the car. I started tying up with my coat hanger there to get it up there. And I heard... I hunt a lot, so I've been in the woods a lot, and I can usually tell if it's a 2-legged or 4-legged animal, or if it's hopping. Like a deer will hop, but it won't make a pound. it'll hop almost, you know, I don't know how to explain it, almost like a feather almost across the leaves, but you'll hear it hopping. So I'm underneath the car and I hear whoom, 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 and it is just pounding and it's coming down the side embankment. Well, now I had shut my car off, the lights were off, and we were sitting there, and I didn't know what it was. My gut told me, get in that car and go. So just as I was rolling out from underneath the car, Ernie goes, get in the car, get in the car. We both knew it was on 2 feet and it was coming down that embankment. We knew it was, and it was heavy. It was not a deer or, you know, it wasn't nothing. It was, you could feel it in the ground. I was laying on the ground. And we got in the car, we took off. I went up the road about probably 60 yards, knowing I have to tie that damn thing up. And sorry about the language. And I tied it up, and we got out of there. And me and Ernie looked at each other and we said, man, he says, did you hear that? I said, yeah, it was on 2 feet, brother. To this day, I think that I never seen it. I don't know what it was. I never seen it. But I can say it was on 2 feet, very heavy, because I could feel that. It's hard to explain. If you're a hunter, you know what I'm talking about. Like a deer that's hopping, basically jumping and running. It's more like a swish. This was, I could feel it coming down. This thing weighed probably, I would estimate it weighed probably at least 400 pounds. And when I heard that coming down the side there, my gut told me, get out. You don't want to know what it is. Just believe, just go. So we went up the road there, and the same place that encounter happened, I talked to Ernie. I hadn't been in touch with Ernie for 10 years. The same place, Ernie was up on the knoll where that came down that hill that night. That's where he had his encounter. The same exact place. So I thought that was kind of strange. I thought that was just, you know, that's just a little bit strange that he had his encounter, and he had a very close encounter. And at the very same spot that we seen that, or didn't see it, but heard it coming down that hill. And I know it was heavy. I didn't see it. And anybody in their right mind is going to know something coming down a hill like that. You're not going to wait around to see if, you know, I've been around moose. I mean, a moose can flip a car over. I've had them right next to my car. But I'm not going to sit there and wait for this thing to run my car over or whatever it's doing coming down that hill. My gut told me to get the heck out of there, and I got the heck out of there. I'm seriously telling you, but I know it weighed. It definitely weighed, and I'd never seen it. I can't tell you, you know, what it looked like or anything like that, but it was the same spot that Ernie had his encounter in up there. I thought that it was important because, you know, there's been several other people up there that have had encounters like that. And I just, you know, thought it was important. You know, if Ernie says, Ernie is a woodsman. Mm-hmm. And I have been in the woods with Ernie before. And if Ernie says that he's seen that, and I certainly believe him. And I certainly do not know what was coming down the hill that night, but I certainly believe that it wasn't aggressive. Mm-hmm. We had the lights off on the vehicle. We were all pretty quiet. And I was probably under it, I'd say probably 4 or 5 minutes before that thing came down the side of the hill there. But I think it was not being aggressive. It was coming down the side of that hill. I don't know if it was running deer or it was hunting. Ernie said that when he seen them, they were hunting up there. But mm-hmm. I don't know if it was hunting and it was trying to cut something off, you know, but I don't think it was trying to be aggressive. I don't think it knew we were even there. I really don't.
Well, it's definitely very important to
get the heck out of there.
You know, I would too.
Ernie yelled to me, get in the car. And I was already halfway in the car from underneath. I was underneath the car. So it was like, you can imagine the feeling that you get on something like that.
I mean, that had to be extremely loud and
Oh yeah,
jarring to make
you
you
could hear
guys freak
everybody, even the guy in the back seat could hear it.
Mhm.
Oh, and you could hear, the branches and everything.
Right.
You could hear it. It was coming down the side of that hill, man.
Well,
And it
there's
was
a
like,
lot of experiences where people are ran out of areas that Sasquatch or Sabe are in because maybe you came upon them when they're with family or little ones, or you're in their hunting ground, so they might be bluff charging you to get you out of it. But I'm sure it knew you were there from all of the people that talk about their knowledge of what's going on.
yeah,
If it was running towards you, I have a feeling it knew you guys were there.
yeah. There's a good chance of it, and I keep thinking, you got all these scenarios. Maybe the wind was up, blowing up the hill, and it can smell us, and
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to say. It's hard to say. But
Right.
that's just and that was the exact area where we were stopped on that road. Ernie was hunting right on top there by Indian Rock. He was hunting right up there on
Exact
top of Indian
area.
Rock, and that's right there. That's
Awesome.
right there. So I just wanted to verify that, yeah. And I believe my brother. I do. I've had that experience up there, and I've had experience when I was a child in that area. And I know a lot of other people have had experiences up there. But that's my story.
That's incredible. I appreciate you sharing that with us, and it is extremely important to your brother's experience. Like I had said at the beginning of the opening of this video, that you're not the only one that we're bringing into this part two. There's two other people, and then your brother's going to come back in, and he's going to talk about some other people. I just wanted to mention to you, we're going to talk about the people who own the apple orchard around the area that you guys lived in. Did you want to
Sure.
at least touch on that? Do you know anything about that happening?
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. There was, when I was real young, I can remember there was this one guy up there in Montgomery, and my dad was more of a woodsman, where he took people out hunting. He did a lot of things, and there was a friend had not contacted anyone in a long time, so my dad and the sheriff went up there looking for him, and I can't remember the whole story. I was very young. But and it's they ended up, to make a long story short, they ended up finding the guy about 2 weeks later with his neck broken, about 60 foot out in his pond. They don't know what killed him or what happened, but they know that people were hearing him yell for help out there in the woods. Now, another situation, like I say, I never seen nothing, and they never, but the guy was yelling for help for several weeks. And they went out there, and my dad, he knew the woods real well, so sheriff's department, when somebody got lost, they come get my dad, and they go out there, and they ended up finding the guy. I guess people could hear him yelling for help and stuff.
For weeks, you said he was yelling for help?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, I guess the way, I don't know exactly, but the way the story goes is that he was, they heard him yelling for help several times in that time. I don't know if it was
like he was taken by something. So he was in the woods. He was in the woods somewhere, and no one could find where he was.
Right, but he was.
Okay.
They heard him yelling for help at night.
Okay.
For a couple
times. Haunting. That's horrifying.
And then they didn't hear nothing from him. He wasn't home. Nothing. They didn't hear nothing from him, and they ended up going up there again and finding him with a broken neck. Something dragged him out in his pond and broke his neck, and it's like,
oh my God.
Well, that's right up there in Montgomery, Massachusetts. That's right up there in that area, and there's a lot of other stories, like that up in that area. That's why I figured I would contribute what, and
that really blows my mind, Fran, about, when you were 4, instead of a bear, what bears do, you have something that had its arms up like this, like a human shaped body would do. Then you have a broken neck. Well, a bear's not going to break someone's neck. somebody or something that can grab a head and snap a neck is going to do that. So something with opposable, thumbs and hands, that's definitely something to take into account here.
Yeah. Yep. So,
can I ask you, since I got you here at the end, what are your thoughts when you first heard your brother's experience? What was your thoughts on that?
Well, my first thoughts when he told me was, my brother and I we grew up together in the woods. I mean, 10 years old, I'm out there shooting cottontail rabbits. We go out there and get half a dozen cottontail rabbits with our BB guns. And so when he told me the area that it was in, and I've hunted that area, and I've had some chills up my spine, and I've heard branches breaking or whatever, but I never really put them together. But when he told me about his experience up there, it just kind of sent chills down my back, and I wish I was with him. I just wish I was with him when he was there, because he was alone. Mm-hmm. He had no choice but to be submissive. So he was submissive, and he cares about animals very much. So I think it probably sensed that he wasn't going to hurt him.
They've always spoken about people having, depending on the mindset of the individual, is how a lot of times the experience goes. And maybe if you were there, it would have went down differently.
Yes. If I was there, I'd, me and him always hunted even deer. Anything we hunted, we tracked or we flanked, or, I'll push it into you, you push it into me. Same as he said that they were doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. He goes, they were pushing into another one. Well, me and him used to, you go around this way, the deer are up over here, and you sit over here, and that's how we used to hunt all the time. So I understand that he knew what they were doing,
right,
and he knew his environment, and he knew. I felt, that he must have been. He had to have been scared. He had to have been. Mm-hmm. But I wish I was with him. If I was with him, I would have been out on his flank, and I would have seen what he was seeing and had his back. But he said to me that he just was submissive, that he put his gun down and just went limp, basically. That's a feeling you have to have if you're going to be submissive, especially to an animal.
Right.
Just be, let your feeling, emotions, whatever go. And he said, that's how I did it. And he says, and that thing communicated with me and knew I wasn't going to hurt it. But if you were that and you were in the woods and you lived in the woods, ain't nobody going to see you or anything. First of all, I've seen white-tailed deer backtrack me. This thing's more than a white-tailed deer. So I think it was. I wish I was there with Ernie when he seen it.
Because one last question I
wouldn't have been standing next to him, but I would have been out on his flank watching.
Well, again, you know what? And I'm sure you would have liked to have been there. I mean, what a world-shaking experience. But I really do believe this, and this is not trying to take anything away from you. I don't think what happened would have happened if there would have been two of you. I think it was specifically happening because he was by himself. I don't think it would have went down with two people. And again, that's not saying that, you would have brought negativism or anything to it. I just don't think it would have done it with two people there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could be wrong.
It may have been a situation where, a lot of animals that get into an area, like, say a lot of smoke's blowing up on a mountain. Before you hunt that mountain, just stand in front of a wood stove. It's going to cover you because that's all it's smelling is that smoke. So it could have been a matter of, because Ernie, when he hunts, he may have been going up there for a month, scouting and looking around. So they're used to his smell.
Right.
And they're used to him being around. So that could have been part, I don't know. That could have been part of it, where they were they got used to his smell. Ernie, when he's in the woods, he usually hunts an area for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So they could have been, that could have been it, part of it. If I was up there, wind could have been another part of it, to where they could have caught wind of me, because I wouldn't have been standing next to them. I would have been up to the side or something. They would have known there was two and there was a threat, because it was just one of them. But Ernie said two more came in, so that Ernie goes, yeah, they were pushing. They were trying to push into that one, and I could connect to what Ernie's saying. I'm like, oh yeah, it makes sense. That's how they're gonna hunt. That's the only way they can hunt. They're not gonna run around there with a bow and arrow or a gun. They're gonna take it down, and just like a wolf or anything like that, they're gonna hunt like that. They're gonna push, and then they're gonna have to take it down physically. So I put all that together. I'm like, oh, and he told me, Franny, they were hunting. They were hunting.
Yeah, it's incredible. I want to ask you one more question before we go. What are your thoughts now, in 2024? So much more attention is brought to high strangeness or paranormal and supernatural cryptids, UFOs, things like that. Well, what are your feelings in this day and age, knowing what you know about your brother and the things looking back on your childhood? What is your general feelings and thoughts on high strangeness?
Well, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that it's there. That there's things that can't be explained. And, I don't know why they can't be explained. Sooner or later they will be, though. I really firmly believe that. But right now they can't be explained. A lot of the stuff can't be. So we're having trouble explaining that. People like Ernie, that has had encounters face to face like that, are having a real problem trying to tell people this is real. Because a lot of other people may say, well, I never seen it. But if you spend any time in the woods or anything, you've had some kind of experience, if you've been in the deep woods on something like that. And I can tell you right now that my brother says that he had that encounter. I firmly 100% believe him. And I think about my childhood, and I think about that area. I used to hunt the same area with Ernie, and it's very secluded. It connects with Granby, Southwick. It's all one range there. You can go from one end to another on dirt roads if you want. So it's definitely wooded areas. So something can survive in there, that's for sure.
Well, sir, I wanted to, thank you. And on behalf of your brother, Ernie, on behalf of Planet 412's family, which is all over the world, I wanted to thank you, Mr. Davieau, for coming here. I want to show everybody real quick the shirt I'm wearing today. This is a cool shirt my wife got me, and says the Sasquatch Research Team. And I'm throwing up right now, again, a link that if you guys go right there, you can find that shirt that I'm wearing. And if you get it, it'll bring you right to it. It's a really comfortable, cool shirt that you can get from Amazon. And, we just wanted to thank everybody for being here today. And again, Mr. Davieau, I wanted to thank you, and we really appreciate it, sir.
Thank you, Matt.
And I just wanted to, again, thank everybody for coming tonight, to being back to Planet 412. Please do me a favor. Go to YouTube, to Planet 412, and hit that subscribe button. Please like all of my videos. Check them out if you haven't. And also on top of that, hit the notification bell. I have been making a point to say this to everyone. One of the things that is extremely important for people that are YouTube creators and for their fans supporting them. And I call you guys my family. I don't look at you as fans. I think that's selling you short. I can't do this with any of you. Every single one of you are so important to me, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you. If you don't feel like watching a whole video for me or for anyone else, do us a favor. Those watch hours are every bit as important as hitting that subscribe button. If you don't want to watch the whole thing, let it play and walk away, because that really helps us. And in terms of the ads, trust me, I get YouTube Premium because I don't like ads. If you have YouTube Premium, that still helps the creators of the channels. If you can handle letting those ads play, they're really important for people who have YouTube channels. But if you can't stand them like I do, get the YouTube Premium and you don't have to watch them, but the YouTube creators still get credit like they would if the ads played. So again, I just wanted to thank you all for being here. Thank you to Mr. Fran Davieau. And we got some more people coming up here. Again, thank you. And we're going to take off from Planet 412, and we hope to see you guys again. Have a good night, everyone.